welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something really profound, not just, stopping drinking, but the whole personal transformation that happens in alcohol recovery. We're going deep into this, looking at the psychology behind it all.
That's right. It really is a journey of self-discovery, really. It's about changing fundamentally, not just stopping a behavior. And to get a handle on how this change actually works, we're going to lean on the trans-theoretical model of change. You might know it as the stages of change model.
Ah, yes. Prochaska and DiClemente's work.
Exactly. It gives us this fantastic roadmap, shows us how change unfolds step by step.
Okay, so by the end of this, you listening should have a really solid grasp of the psychological shifts, the hurdles people face, and what actually works at each stage.
Yeah.
You'll see it's not always a straight line either. People can loop back, right?
Oh, definitely. Cycling through is very common, actually. It's part of the process. And, having the right support at the right stage makes such a difference.
That makes sense.
Which is why, well, it's a good moment to mention New Life Recovery Centers. They're right here in San Jose, Silicon Valley, the Bay Area. For, over 21 years now, they've been doing amazing work. Holistic, evidence-based treatment.
And they really tailor it, don't they?
They do. They've got the whole range: alcohol and drug detox, residential PHP day treatment, even a super flex IOP, that's intensive outpatient. They really focus on compassionate care, helping people start your new life today. You can just call them for a confidential chat, check your insurance too. They work with most major ones: PPO, out-of-network, EAP, unions.
Good to know. So, okay, let's get into these stages. There are 6, you said.
6 main stages: pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and termination.
Right.
And it's crucial to get that each stage is psychologically distinct. Different mindset, different challenges, different opportunities for growth. Knowing where someone is helps tailor the support.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Pre-contemplation. This is where the person doesn't even see the problem. Is that it? Like total denial.
Pretty much. Or they minimize it significantly. The classic problem: what problem? I can stop whenever I want. They genuinely don't perceive their drinking as an issue.
So psychologically, what's going on there? Is it just denial?
Denial is huge, yes. And defensiveness. They honestly see alcohol as, well, enjoyable, maybe even helpful. The pros of drinking still heavily outweigh the cons in their mind. So there's just no intention to change anytime soon, like not in the next 6 months.
And you mentioned this is common.
Shockingly common. Research suggests something like 40% of people with addictions are in this pre-contemplation stage. They genuinely don't see a reason to change yet.
Wow. So can anything actually shift them out of it if they're that entrenched?
Sometimes life throws them a curveball. A health scare, maybe, or an ultimatum from a partner, trouble at work. Those external things can plant a seed. But the internal challenges are massive. That denial, rationalizing like, oh, I had a tough week, I earned this. Plus, just the fear of withdrawal, fear of change itself.
So you can't just tell them they have a problem.
Usually not effective, no. It often makes them defensive. The goal isn't action yet. It's just raising awareness gently. Motivational interviewing MI is really key here.
How does that work?
It's about asking open-ended questions like, how does your drinking fit with wanting to be a good dad? It helps them see the mismatch, Raises doubt without being confrontational. Giving some neutral info about alcohol's effects, maybe talking harm reduction, like not driving drunk, that can also help.
And the milestone. What shows they're moving?
Just a tiny crack in the denial, maybe admitting just once that, maybe the drinking is causing some problems, or even just thinking, maybe I should do something about this. That's the start.
Okay, so that leads into contemplation. And you said this is where it gets really interesting. The internal struggle starts.
Exactly. This is a huge psychological shift. They acknowledge there's a problem. But, and this is the key, they're deeply ambivalent. Torn.
Torn how? Like wanting to stop but also not wanting to?
Precisely. They're weighing the pros and cons of drinking versus quitting, often obsessively. They might say something like, yeah, I know it's hurting me. I do want to change, but I'm just not sure I'm ready. Or if I can even do it. It's this real approach avoidance conflict.
And that can go on for a while.
Oh, yeah. Months, sometimes even years. People can get stuck in what's called chronic contemplation, just circling the idea, never quite landing on a decision.
That sounds incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
Why do people get stuck there? Is it just lack of willpower?
That's a common misunderstanding. Often it's fear of failing if they try, fear of what life will even look like without alcohol. It's become their coping mechanism, maybe part of their identity. Imagining life without it is terrifying.
So there's growth happening, insight, honesty, imagining a different life, but massive challenges too. Fear, procrastination, maybe even romanticizing the drinking days.
Absolutely. Lots of guilt, lots of internal conflict. It's a tough place to be.
So what helps here? More MI.
MI is still very powerful, yeah, helping resolve that ambivalence. Sometimes a simple decisional balance exercise, writing down all the pros and cons of both options, can really clarify things. Therapy helps connect the drinking to their deeper values and goals, showing the conflict. Building their confidence, their self-efficacy is also vital. Maybe sharing success stories.
And education.
Education about addiction, withdrawal, treatment options, yes. But it needs to be encouraging, not shaming. The big milestone here is making that firm decision. It could be sudden, like that's it, I'm done, or more gradual, but it leads to action, like actually picking up the phone to call for help.
Okay, so they've made the decision. Now what? Preparation.
Exactly. Preparation. This stage is all about commitment and planning. The decision is made. Now it's about getting ready to act.
What does that feel like psychologically?
Often there's a real sense of urgency, but also optimism, relief maybe, empowerment. They've fully accepted the problem now, and the benefits of changing finally outweigh the costs in their mind. Their confidence is growing. They start seeing themselves as someone who is changing.
How long does this stage usually last?
It's usually pretty short, days, maybe weeks. It's very focused on getting things ready.
And taking ownership helps build that feeling of control, I guess.
Definitely. But there are still hurdles. Like, how exactly do I quit? Cold turkey, taper, rehab, outpatient, practical stuff too, getting time off work, childcare, money worries, and just mentally preparing for withdrawal and the big lifestyle changes ahead.
So the tools here are really practical.
Very much so. Setting a quit date is huge. Getting rid of all the alcohol in the house, telling supportive friends and family, and crucially, arranging professional help, finding a program, a therapist, maybe seeing a doctor about managing withdrawal safely.
Professionals can help with the plan itself.
Absolutely. Help make it realistic. Identify those high-risk situations in advance and plan coping strategies. Like, okay, when I feel stressed, instead of reaching for a drink, I'm going to call my sponsor or go for a walk. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, helps rehearse these skills. MI reinforces the confidence. Learning what to expect with withdrawal helps too.
Takes away some of the fear of the unknown.
Exactly. The milestone is feeling truly ready, like, okay, I have a plan, I can do this. And then successfully reaching day one of sobriety. That solid foundation is so important.
Okay, day one. That brings us to action. This is the part people usually think of as recovery, right? The actual stopping.
Yes, this is the visible change, the doing. Actively changing habits day by day to stay sober and build a different way of living.
And psychologically, this must be intense.
Incredibly. It's challenging, no doubt. Cravings, withdrawal can be tough, but it's also exhilarating. There's growing pride, empowerment with each sober day. That self-efficacy really starts to build. And a major identity shift happens. They start to truly see themselves as a sober person.
But it's not all smooth sailing.
Oh, definitely not. It's often an emotional roller coaster. Old feelings might surface that alcohol was numbing, vulnerability, but also joy, a sense of real accomplishment. Life can feel weird at first, empty maybe, as old routines disappear before new ones solidify. But the positive changes better health, mending relationships, they really reinforce the commitment.
Can you give an example of that identity shift? How does someone start seeing themselves as sober?
It might be small things like automatically ordering a soda water at a restaurant instead of thinking about beer, or maybe driving past their old haunt and feeling nothing, or even relief instead of a pull. It's less about forcing the sober choice and more about it becoming the natural choice. Their internal default starts to change.
So growth involves building new skills, learning triggers, honesty. But the challenges sound huge too. Cravings, withdrawal.
Withdrawal can be medically serious, absolutely needs attention sometimes. Breaking those old routines, avoiding people tied to drinking, dealing with underlying anxiety or depression that might emerge, it's a lot. And yeah, the risk of relapse is highest in this stage.
That sounds discouraging.
It can be, but the model sees relapse differently, not as failure, but as, well, a learning opportunity. A chance to figure out what went wrong, adjust the plan, and get back on track. It builds resilience.
So what helps people stay in action?
CBT is really effective here, identifying those automatic negative thoughts like, I need a drink to cope, and changing them. Developing concrete coping behaviors. Motivational strategies help maintain focus. Support is absolutely critical.
Professional and peer support.
Both. Counseling, outpatient programs, and peer groups like AA, Smart Recovery, that community, that shared experience, the hope it's invaluable. Setting short-term goals helps too, like 90 meetings in 90 days. Celebrating milestones 30 days, 60, 90, 3 months is often seen as early remission. Managing triggers actively, filling the time with healthy activities, and ongoing relapse prevention planning.
Okay, so after they've sustained this action, usually for about 6 months, they move into maintenance.
That's the general time frame, yes.
Right.
Maintenance is about consolidating those gains, making sobriety stick long-term. Preventing relapse becomes the focus.
How does the psychology shift here?
The sober identity gets stronger, more ingrained. Confidence in handling life sober increases significantly. Temptation usually decreases over time. Sobriety starts feeling like, well, the new normal. Unhealthy coping mechanisms are replaced by healthy ones almost automatically. Stress might trigger a desire to exercise, not drink.
And it opens up space for other things.
Exactly. It's not just about not drinking anymore. It's about building a fuller life, pursuing career goals, education, hobbies, deeper relationships. The acute struggle fades.
You mentioned before about the risk of overconfidence. How does that play out here?
It's a subtle trap. Someone feels strong, life is good, and they think, you know what, maybe I could just have one drink now. Or they start skipping support meetings because they feel they got this. That complacency can be risky.
So confidence is good, but needs realism.
Exactly. We encourage confidence, but help them stay aware. Recognize those subtle warning signs. The focus shifts to really weaving recovery into the fabric of their entire life, making it so rich and meaningful that alcohol just doesn't have a place.
So the growth is about resilience, identity, managing triggers skillfully, self-awareness deepens, self-esteem improves, and often people start giving back.
Yes, mentoring others, sponsoring newcomers in 12-step programs, that's very common and actually really reinforces their own recovery. But challenges remain. Unexpected stresses can still trigger temptation. That overconfidence or boredom, lingering mental health stuff needs ongoing care. Navigating social events sober can still require planning.
What strategies are key for maintenance?
Ongoing support, though maybe less intense. Regular reminders of why sobriety is valuable gratitude practices, maybe. Periodic therapy tune-ups. Continuous relapse prevention planning, updating strategies as life changes. Developing new life skills. Research shows continuing care for several years dramatically improves outcomes. Making recovery part of the daily routine meditation, exercise, maybe a weekly meeting. Keeping the home alcohol-free.
And the milestones get bigger.
Yeah, we start talking about 1 year sober, 5 years sober. And the data is encouraging. After 5 years of continuous sobriety, the risk of relapse drops significantly, down to around 7%. It shows how stable recovery can become.
Okay, finally, termination, the end stage. Is this where someone is cured?
Well, that's the interesting part. Many experts are hesitant to use the word cured or even declare termination for something like alcoholism. Ongoing vigilance is often recommended. But conceptually, termination means zero temptation, no internal battle, complete confidence in staying sober.
Like buckling a seatbelt, it's just automatic.
That's a great analogy. Sobriety isn't something they work at anymore, it's just who they are. Alcohol is a non-issue. It allows a complete focus on broader life goals, personal growth. The identity isn't just sober person, it's maybe thriving person.
So this stage is the culmination of all that growth. A restored identity, maybe even being a role model, achieving major life goals.
Absolutely. The main challenge, if you can call it that, is just maintaining that healthy lifestyle, avoiding complacency, but by definition, the risk is minimal at this point.
Do people still use formal tools or strategies?
Usually not actively. The coping mechanisms are ingrained, automatic. Maintaining healthy routines, sleep, exercise, social connection is key. Nurturing support systems happens more naturally. Often, giving back becomes a central part of their life. The strategy is the healthy lifestyle they've built.
And the reward?
Immense, true freedom, health, real relationships, self-respect, fulfillment. The milestone is kind of open-ended, maybe after 5 years or more, where drinking genuinely holds zero appeal. They are fundamentally transformed.
Wow. Looking at it through this model, recovery really is so much more than just stopping drinking. It's a deep, progressive transformation of the entire self. Each stage shows that incredible human capacity for change.
It really does. And while it's often not linear and definitely challenging, it leads people to become healthier, more autonomous, more fulfilled. The evidence is clear. People absolutely can and do change in profound ways.
And having support tailored to each stage is so vital. Which brings us back to New Life Recovery Centers. They really get this whole process, this journey of transformation.
They absolutely do. Their compassionate, evidence-based care in San Jose, Silicon Valley, and the Bay Area is designed around this understanding. With detox, residential, PHP, their flexible IOP, they meet people where they are.
And 21 years of success stories really says something.
It does. If you or someone you know is on this journey, reaching out to them is a great step. The consultation is confidential. That number again is 408-297-1182. They can help verify insurance too. They're really there to help you start that new life.
Definitely worth considering. So as we wrap up, here's something to think about, this whole stages of change framework. Where else in your life, maybe with a challenge you're facing or a goal you have, could looking at it through these stages be helpful?